Mm. Now,
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning,
good,
Betsy.
good morning, Ray. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, ladies. Wonderful to have you here with us this morning. And for those of you who may be joining us for the very first time or are new to our sessions, we go live every Sunday, most Sundays. I shouldn't say every, should I? But most Sundays we go live for 20 minutes in our group, which is also, all of them are replayable. So up in the featured section in the group, you can watch any of the replays that we do. But we generally bring to you a series of information or education, just little snippets of things that we integrate throughout our work that we do. So, this series that we're doing at the moment is on nervous system and nervous system regulation. So, we're up to week 3 today about completing the stress cycle. Pets.
Yeah, awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Chantel. I see that you're there. If you are there with us live, say hi in the comment section. We'd love to say hi back. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay.
That would be amazing.
Yes, beautiful. So the thing here is that stress is meant to move. So stress is not the problem here. Stress is a natural biological response designed to help you survive. Interesting.
Isn't it?
So, your body activates into a stress mode, and then your adrenaline, that's a little bit hard to say this early in the morning, rises, which gets you ready to like run or do whatever it is that you need to do to be safe. It energizes, the energy mobilizes your body, and then you prepare to do whatever it is that you need to do. But what most women don't realize, the society that we live in today, stress is meant to be a short term and actually completed. So there is actually a cycle of stress. So in the wild, when an animal escapes a threat, it doesn't just walk away calmly. Once the lion finishes chasing the antelope, it doesn't just carry on its day. It actually takes time out to shake its body, to release that stress, to discharge the activation physically. So to actually move that stress, those stress hormones through the body so they're not locked in there. And when it does this, it returns back to its baseline. However, us lovely human beings, we very rarely complete that stress cycle. We activate often, but we don't discharge. We tend to just power on through.
Yeah.
We override it. We know we're feeling stressed, but we just ignore it. We just push through. We keep sitting in our desks. We hold polite conversations when really we feel like going out the back and screaming, right? And we just go straight on to the next task. It's like you just can't take time to just pause and reset, right?
Mm.
And so the body stays partially open in the stress cycle, braced, braced for danger, kind of a bit of a hypervigilance, and yeah, partially prepared for something else to go wrong. So this is why we can feel really tired but still wired, like we can't actually relax. Um, we can feel a bit rested but still feel a bit tense as well. Or we can just feel okay but not fully settled
Mm.
because the stress cycle is running in the background. So the completion of the stress cycle, it doesn't need to be doesn't need to be dramatic.
Mm.
It can be quite subtle.
Yeah, you
So it
don't
can
have to
just
scream.
no, it can just look like a bit of movement. I mean, I think the important thing is to just stop, right?
Mm.
Just stop.
Mm.
A little bit of movement, maybe some stretching, maybe a little walk, maybe a dance. Who knows?
Mm.
Breath. Coming back to your breath. I mean, our breath is
Life.
life, it's our soul, and it's like we could stop and take a couple of nice deep breaths and just you know could be having a good old cry
Yeah.
or a laugh. Laughter really releases all of that out of your body.
Mm.
Shaking. I love shaking. And
Yeah.
I know now when I need to shake and I just get up and shake. So there's nothing like having a good old shake.
Mm.
And it could be just, expressing yourself honestly,
Yeah.
just
Having an
meeting
honest
yourself
conversation.
where you're at.
Mm.
So the beautiful thing about completion is it tells the nervous system that the threat has passed and
Yeah.
that you can now sort of stand down, just take that breath and just relax. So without completion, our body stays vigilant. And with completion, the body is allowed to soften.
Mm.
And when our body softens, inner peace becomes available to us again.
Mm. Oh my God, that's just like that. How many of you just listened to that and it all just hit home? Like, how many
Mm,
are like, it actually, the thing that stood out to me was sometimes, that not winding down properly at night time. So lots of the times, we work quite late at night time, and we get off the calls and we don't really, it's like, oh, we're so tired, we need to go to bed, so get into bed and my brain is still ticking over the day rather than taking the time to actually wind down and de-stress before going to bed. It's like that whole scenario, of people getting into bed and staying on their phones, and scrolling
mm,
on their phones before going to sleep. We're not doing that whole complete closing that loop of just allowing the stress to let go. And people actually do think that being on their phones is de-stressing, and
mm,
it's like, oh wow, that's just another thought pattern, which it would be good to actually park that and really wind down at night time, rather than staying sparked up. Yeah, so bit of a thought or a metaphor to go with this is that open loop, right? So, not closing the loop. I think you said halfway through that, Patsy, something about that we don't, in order to we don't release the stress. So by
mm,
not releasing the stress, the loop stays open because we're not giving the information to the body to let the body know that it is safe. So we're storing it all, we're holding on to it all. And a lot of us, suppress it. We just push it down that hole without letting it out. So imagine like starting a sentence and not finishing it, just stopping halfway through, or imagine reading an email when it cuts off mid paragraph. Your brain, it doesn't relax. This is exactly the same. It stays open, waiting for that loop to finish. And stress works in exactly the same way. So when the activation arises, but it never completes itself, the system stays in this open loop scenario. So many of us have learned to be really high functioning. Like, how many of us here are high functioning women, mothers, entrepreneurs, businesswomen, that are under stress, um, to look calm, to keep going, to hold it all together. But on the inside, the body, never got the message that it was safe to actually close the loop. And over time, what happens is that open loop becomes your baseline, So when you do actually go to relax, your body like can't. Your body can't relax, I've so got the t-shirt for this one, right? But it isn't a weakness, we need to look at that from the point of view that this isn't a weakness, but it's just incomplete psychology, So we we need to be able to relax our bodies and to wind down and regulate that stress cycle, but do it on a really regular basis. So today we sort of begin gently teaching your body how to close those loops again. And we're going to give you some journaling questions, like we have done throughout the previous weeks. We'll pop them into the chat box.
I think we've got time to talk through them a little bit today.
Great, excellent. So the first one is, where in my life do I tend to power through instead of pause? So, and you might like to just sort of instantly think about those things and pop them into the chat box, to share with the other woman, because it's really interesting. When do we power through things? Most of the time it would be what with the kids maybe, and also at work. Maybe it's the housework, and we just keep powering through.
Hey, you talking to me? Hi, Carol. Hi, Anne. Lovely to
Good
have you here
morning,
with us this
ladies.
morning.
Good morning,
Yeah.
ladies. Yeah, so when would be an example for you powering through stuff, Pat, instead of pausing?
I think because I have, not unlike a lot of people, so many facets to my life at the moment, right? Because I'm still working full time.
Mm,
We're building our business. I've
mm,
got an older parent who needs help, and I've also got grandchildren.
mm.
So, and I've also got a husband and my own
Yeah,
children as well,
yeah, the
but adults.
husband,
But
yeah.
there's so many aspects, and you just keep just flowing from one to the other. Like, get up, go to work, come home, do the coaching. And it's kind of like it's
Mm,
just sometimes I need to remember to just take some time out just for me, just
mm,
to take that step back and just relax. And I know that for you, you're a natural doer, so it's
mm.
it's it's probably even harder for you. What's your experience?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And a lot of mine comes from the need for success, or the need for, providing. So I'm very much, in my masculine. So I need to work very, very hard on bringing myself into the softness and the feminine, of actually really slowing down and regulating and taking time out, because I will sit down, I'll have the intention to actually just try and regulate, but I'll sit and I'll be like, oh shit, that's right, I forgot to hang the washing out, or or I'll go into, oh, if I'm gonna sit down, like this is a classic for a doer. I sit down, oh, I'm bored. Like, what am I gonna do if I'm gonna sit down, and then we bring in the, oh, but I'm an active relaxer, There's all these excuses to not regulate our system, right?
Cool bullshit on that
Yeah.
one.
So it's very much just trying to find that place where, for me at the moment, I've been really working on, when I get triggered, or when I'm really, under the pump, I will actually stop. I'll actually pause, and I'll deregulate my system. So I'll be shaking, or I'll actually take myself outside, I'll go for a walk, I'll ground myself, and I'll actually, I find just taking 5 minutes, in amongst the chaos, is enough to actually bring myself back. And I think that's a good start to give yourself just that moment to actually just regulate your system. And then the rest of it starts to flow, and you're able to actually give yourself more and more and more as you go. And that
Mm.
makes you more productive too, you know?
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of us, thanks for your comments, Carol. Totally get where you're at. Sounds similar to me. Yeah. And um, we get to a point sometimes where we treat rest as a reward,
Mm,
you know, and it shouldn't just be a reward.
oh, I love
It's
that.
part of
Yeah,
what is
living.
required for
Hmm.
us, yeah, to live healthily and to live in some kind of balance. So,
Mm,
yeah. Hey, Chantel.
mm,
Yeah, being in the masculine. Yeah, it's kind of a product, I suppose, of the world that we've grown up in, and the sort of hustle and the bustle and the work cultures that we have here, and got
mm.
to achieve, and put in your pound of flesh.
Yeah.
It's a very masculine environment. And
Mm,
as women, I suppose too, because we're the natural nurturers and carers, when we've also got family, to look after and stuff like that, that role also takes up a lot of our time. Like, quite often guys can come home from work and just relax
Yeah.
because they're possibly their jobs for the day in
Yeah.
their mind might be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Whereas we've still got to, in a very traditional relationship, obviously, I know a lot of men cook these days, but you still got to cook the dinner,
Yeah.
still got to, get the washing done and all that kind of stuff.
Mm,
Beautiful.
mm,
Let's move on to the next question,
mm. So, how does
which,
my body feel when stress hasn't fully settled? Yeah, so just take note of that, the real internal feelings of how your body is under stress, and you might want to take note of them. Um, and yeah, we're very big on the sensations of the body. Where do you feel the stress? Really locate it in your body, and tune into it. So yeah, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that, Pat.
yeah, I suppose it's just being in an awareness that you are still in a semi-stressed state, that because as we talked about it before, it becomes your baseline because we never clear it out. So it
Mm,
becomes hard to recognize that you're
totally.
still stressed out.
And we actually
Um,
become quite committed sometimes to holding on to that feeling.
yeah,
A lot of us
exactly.
don't actually want to let it go because we're scared to let it go.
Well, it just feels normal.
Feels the
Yeah,
normal. Yeah. Yeah.
nice, nice. Beautiful, Carol. Carol allowed herself to relax yesterday, even though she had stuff to do. So well done.
Well
Well
done.
done.
That is
Right,
amazing.
let's this last question, and we better
Yeah.
we better trough on.
Yeah. So what does completion feel like for me, even in small moments? So completion means letting go, I suppose, relaxing,
Yeah.
letting the stress out. I don't know if any of you here have gotten to that stage where you're right up to here and it just comes out, right? So it'll either come out in tears, it'll come out in a scream, it'll come out in a punching
Panting.
bag when you're doing whatever it is, it comes out. But then when it comes out, how do you feel after that? You do feel like, oh, you actually feel better. Your body actually feels better, for actually just letting it out. And yeah, one of the, I mean, Patsy and I've already said, throughout this series, and we're going to be releasing our safe framework, and the the one of the protocols is, actually releasing and letting it go, and really noticing the softness in your body afterwards of just actually letting it out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that all being said, we're going to drop into a closed eye experience now. We just allow ourselves to come down.
Ooh. Yeah.
So just get yourself comfortable and let's just practice a small moment of completion together. So just letting your eyes close if that feels safe for you, popping your feet on the floor, sitting up nice and tall, maybe giving your shoulders a wiggle. Just taking a nice deep breath in through your nose and releasing through your mouth. And again, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now just gently bring your mind to something mildly stressful from the past week. Doesn't have to be the biggest thing, just something small. And as it comes into your awareness, notice what happens in your body as you recall it. Where do you feel it? Where do you feel the stress? What does it feel like? Is it as a tightness? Is it a pressure? Is it an energy? Is it an ache? What is it? How does it feel to have stress in your body? So we're not trying to analyze the situation. We're just wanting to bring focus to the sensations. So taking a nice slow breath in now. And as you exhale, gently roll your shoulders or shake your hands or press your feet into the ground. Just allow your body to move in a way that feels natural for you. We're just allowing a bit of a discharge from the body right now, just a release. Taking in a nice big breath again. Pausing and silently saying to yourself, that moment is complete. I am safe now. Just releasing your breath. And just noticing if anything shifts. Maybe it softens a little. Maybe it releases somehow. And just knowing, completion doesn't require perfection. Just a presence, just an awareness. So we'll just take another couple of nice breaths here. Just breathing in and breathing out fully. And again, breathing in and out. And one more, breathing in and breathing out. And then when you're ready, just gently opening up your eyes.
Beautiful. And how are we all feeling now? Just taking a minute just to actually drop in and recognizing, the feeling and then allowing it to move through just by being just still and just focusing on Patsy's beautiful voice just for a few minutes. That's enough to like calm anyone down, I reckon. So today really was just, it wasn't about eliminating the stress, obviously, because, I mean, a couple of minutes sure as heck sort of really brings you back into presence, that's for sure, right? But we basically, we're looking at just really allowing the space to be able to recognize it, to be able to see it. So stress is not your enemy, it's just unfinished. It's just a part of us that we need to recognize, that we need to then be able to bring into presence and then be able to let go, but take the time, just a few minutes to be able to do that so that we start to regulate. So over this coming week, just really simply notice when that activation arises, when you feel the stress come into your body, and just note what it maybe looks like, what it feels like, for you. And then also notice whether it completes itself or not. And you may be looking at it quite differently this week, which will be interesting for you all as well. And what are small movements, maybe that really help your body to settle down. And it could be going for a walk, it could be waking up rested, it could be maybe just, taking a few minutes during the day. So next week we're going from reaction to regulation. So reclaiming that pause. So we're going to go a little deeper into that pause, because when the nervous system feels safe and complete, you actually gain that access to choice. So once you actually bring your system back into alignment, you actually have connection with source. So you're actually able to hear yourself think, or think or listen, right? Listen to the choices that you can make. And instead of reacting, we start to actually respond to things. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here this morning. We really appreciate you joining in on the call and giving us feedback. And please make sure you hashtag replay if you've watched this replay as well.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Have a wonderful day and take some time out for yourself today if you can.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome.
All righty.
Thanks, ladies.
See ya.
Bye.